Hello, Moore County, and to all of you watching elsewhere. This is John Nagy, editor for the Pilot newspaper, coming to you from the middle of our newsroom here on West Pennsylvania Avenue in Southern Pines. Thank you for tuning in. Sometimes this broadcast has a sponsor, and here's where I would tell you who that is. Well, this time, I want to say that while it's me in front of this camera, this daily broadcast, which began back in March, is a massive team effort. And it's only through the work of our entire newsroom that this program comes together. That's reporters David Sinclair, Mary Kate Murphy, Laura Douglas, Jamie Baxley, who's behind the camera, photographer Ted Fitzgerald, our team at the Sway, like Abby and Mackenzie. It's their hustle that gets us these stories that I tell you about. And it's through Jamie's technological know-how that we've even been able to improve this broadcast. We're trying a little something different today with the sound, which is why I've got my earphones in, trying to record the audio file. So whether it's me or David Warnoff in front of this camera, this broadcast is really brought to you by the entire team here at the Pilot. So I thank them for their work. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the day's coronavirus numbers. So for the latest Moore County data, I'm looking at the State Department of Health and Human Services. That number today for Moore County is 753, which is a slight downward adjustment from yesterday, which was 755. Clearly, there's some quirk going on in the numbers reporting, since the Health Department reports 748 cases, and that was yesterday's numbers. So the number of deaths still remains at 18. We're trying to sort of sort through what's going on with the actual number of cases. The Health Department is showing 131 active COVID-19 cases and 599 people recovered. Looking at First Health of the Carolinas, it has completed 15,940 tests. That's about 300 more from yesterday. Of that total, 1,972 came back as positive for the coronavirus. It's still waiting on 241 tests. So some of that backlog, some of that testing backlog has cleared up a little bit from yesterday. The hospital system is also reporting 26 COVID-19 patients out of 360 total patients in its hospitals. Now looking statewide, there were 1,892 new cases being reported today. So that's down about 250 from yesterday, but hospitalizations are back up again. So they are at 1,188. That, sadly, is a new record for North Carolina. Now, when we kind of change our perspective a little bit and look just at central North Carolina, of which Moore County is part, the healthcare system is operating well within its capacity limits, but the number of ICU beds is beginning to tighten up a little bit. So the region is reporting it has 371 ICU beds in use and 89 available. Now in coronavirus news today, Jamie has a couple of updates for us. I mentioned the other day that the county health department gave away masks last Friday in downtown Southern Pines. Well, now Jamie's reporting that the department has agreed to give away masks at the San Juan Diego mission in Robbins. The Hispanic community has been disproportionately affected by the coronavirus. Hispanics make up about 7% of the county's population, but represent more than 20% of the local coronavirus cases. A number of these folks work in jobs that can't be done remotely, and they're often performed in close proximity to others. So that's why the mask giveaway in that community is so important. Another update involves Accordius Health in Aberdeen, where the county has registered its fourth virus outbreak at a senior living facility. 3 employees there tested positive several days ago for COVID-19. Testing of all residents and staff began yesterday and is expected to continue into tomorrow. So we're probably not going to have any results likely until next week on that. This facility, which had gone by the name of Kingswood, maybe that's how you knew that name, until a few months ago, is one of about 40 Accordius owns in North Carolina. The 4-year-old chain has been buying up nursing homes over the last few years. They've had outbreaks at other facilities, most notably the Citadel nursing home in Salisbury. That nursing home had 168 confirmed cases and 18 deaths alone connected to the virus in that one facility. Now also, we mentioned the other day that 2 residents in an independent living building at Peanut Village up the street here in Southern Pines had tested positive for the coronavirus. Peanut sent out a memo earlier today saying those 2 residents were retested and registered as negative. So that's some good news to share. Turning to sports, managing editor David Sinclair is doing an update on where things kind of stand with middle and high school sports here in Moore County. Right now, organized practices and training have remained at a standstill for the schools. If you have a kid on a team or in marching band or some activity like that, you know how hard usually they're practicing at the end of July and into August. So we could find out next week, maybe next Tuesday, whether practices can resume in some fashion sometime soon. Coaches are kind of hoping that if athletics begin in early September, maybe they could begin gathering team members for some kind of social distance workout deal as soon as next week, or the week after, rather. So maybe early August. That's certainly not set in stone. All things are liable to change based on guidance from the state high school athletics officials and school administrators. Lastly, we've talked a few times now with you about the free food giveaway being run through Moore County Schools and the Boys and Girls Club of the Sandhills. So when schools closed due to the coronavirus back in March, that took away an important source of breakfast and lunch for a few thousand kids who otherwise don't have reliable access to food. So school workers, the Boys and Girls Club, and a host of volunteers started up a weekday lunch and breakfast for the next day that families can pick up for kids. It's been going strong ever since, and it's through donations and other funding sources that this program has been able to continue all summer long. They kind of, for the last few months, we're sort of setting deadlines, like the program will end June 5th and the program will end July 13th. And every single time they got more sources of funds, more donations, and the volunteers just kind of kept this thing going. So we got word that from the district the other day, the program is going to continue now until August 13th. So that's the Thursday before school starts. So parents can keep showing up Monday through Thursday at either Southern Middle in Aberdeen, Cranes Creek Middle in Vass, or Elise Middle in Robbins from 11 to 1 p.m. On Thursdays like today, they're handing out double meals to account for the operation being closed on Friday. So folks who went today would have gotten lunch for tomorrow as well as breakfast. School buses are also being used to sort of drive food out to several central drop-off points. Those locations can be found on the school district's website or thepilot.com. Okay, that's kind of what we have for you right now. Since it's Thursday evening, we have another issue of the Sway email newsletter dropping in just a bit. We've been doing the Sway for 4 years now? Something like that. If you're new to town, or if you don't get this newsletter, it's free. Just go to itsthesway.com. You enter your email address there, and we'll start dropping it in your inbox. As always, thank you for supporting this broadcast and the pilot. We're still making some adjustments to this broadcast, so leave us a note with any suggestions. You can always reach me also at John, John, at thepilot.com. Make sure, again, you check back later for updates on thepilot.com or on our Facebook page. I'm going to end tonight with a quote I heard earlier today from Mr. Rogers. I was listening to the radio, and there's a quote from Mr. Rogers. He said, quote, "There are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. The third way is to be kind." I'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, be safe, be kind, and keep your distance.